Alrighty, welcome to episode 218 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla will reveal its refreshed Model Y lineup in Perth in less than 24 hours. The refreshed cars, including one painted in Glacier Blue, will be revealed at Tesla's O'Connor showroom between 5 and 8 p.m. tomorrow, Thursday, 1st of May. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and that wasn't the only news that's going to happen this week. But once again, welcome to the program, and as is traditional, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please do unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later in the program. Just a couple of things. Firstly, tomorrow morning I will send out this email to all members. We've got a casual meetup at the Greenwood Tavern, 349 Warwick Road in Greenwood, this coming Wednesday. So it's from 6:30 on the 7th of May. So there obviously won't be a casual meetup online, but there'll be an in-person one at the Greenwood Tavern. So that's an important bit of extra news that obviously will follow our reveal of the Model Y tomorrow night, or late tomorrow evening, I guess you'd call it, at O'Connor. The other thing too is a certain hosting idiot is going on another lap, so there won't be an Ask Us Anything on the 7th, or actually for the next 3 weeks. That's recorded. However, we will still be running the sessions, but they just won't be recorded, and it won't be my ugly mug on the hosting. It'll be Pete's pleasant countenance that will be shining out to everyone.
Well,
So
first of all,
that's
Harold, can I say I take objection to you calling the secretary of my club an idiot and ugly? So please
well.
refrain that sort of
I,
language.
I suggest in a week's time you come where I am and say that. But we'll be back on Wednesday, the 21st of May. So we'll resume normal transmission then. All right, so I just thought I'd get the main bits of news out of the way early because I know most people in YouTube and Xland only watch the first few minutes and move on, unless of course a good friend of the program, Russell Bell, has actually got a really good pro tip. If you've got little kiddies and they're in the car and they're whinging, if you want them to get to sleep really quickly, just put on an episode of Ask Us Anything and they go into the land of Nod almost instantaneously. It's probably better than general anesthetic, but a lot safer. Anyway, enough of all of that. And obviously, if you're a member of Tokwa, if you're a financial member, you definitely, and even a lapsed financial member, you would have gotten a copy of an email that Tesla sent to order holders. Now, or if you're on our private Facebook group, the Tokwa's Facebook group, you'd also see the post, which is again a duplication of that invitation for tomorrow's reveal. So if you're watching this on X or YouTube and you haven't gotten an email or you're not a member of the Facebook page, please just send an email to secretary@tokwa.org.au, and then I can just forward you that invite just so that you can RSVP your attendance. And if you're just unable to RSVP, please just attend anyway, because the more the merrier, quite frankly. And it's going to be pretty exciting. All right, enough of that. Enough of me talking. Does anyone like to open with a question or a comment? Right, we're slow starters. This is a tough crowd. Um,
I've got a comment if you're desperate for one, but give others preference.
yeah, if anyone else got a comment. Oh, welcome back, Dr. Richard Cooper. Welcome back
Oh,
from a long time. I haven't noticed you on the line for a while.
thank you. I've been travelling and been slack, so yeah, I'm around. I've
Very
got a
good.
question. I've got a question.
Yes.
I'm going
Shoot.
to England in a few months, and I've ordered, I'm hiring a couple of Model Ys on Turo while I'm over there.
Yep.
And Pete Petrovsky's very generously told me how I can insure the gap cheaply with, and I forgot what it is. What was it, Pete?
So yeah, I'll put it in the comment section.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
So then I can forget it again and find it. That's great.
Pete, is there no hang on 2 seconds.
And the reason I'm getting I'm going to the hassle of a Turo and Teslas is because I drive Teslas, and I was in Sydney like a few days ago and with some friends, and they lent me the car, and driving around Sydney with a flippin' sat nav that doesn't work and you've got to use your phone. It's just mayhem and it's crazy, and forget it. I want to drive Teslas. So, and also
Absolutely.
you've got to steer the bloody things. It's a
Um,
pain in the ass having to keep the car in the middle of the lane when you're not used to it. It's just a pain. So
One pro tip, Richard, if you're renting it through Turo, there's a slim chance that you might that the rent the sorry, Pete, what are the people that rent them out? They're not landlords. What are they? Um,
Hope.
Hosts. Okay, yes, hosts with the mosts. Um, there's a slim chance, or possibly a good chance, that the hosts will allow you to have access to the car by effectively sending a credential so that you can use it through your app. The thing you have to do, because it's in Europe, and I'm sure the UK is part of Europe as far as Tesla's concerned, the pro tip is set yourself up with a separate email address, do a new Tesla account, and pick an address in Europe. So just pick a random address. It doesn't have to. It has to be a real address, but just pick any address you can think of in Europe, because what I found when I hired a car in Austria was I got the link and tried to apply it to my Tesla app with me logged in, and it said something not compatible. I forget what it said exactly, but it refused to do it. And then I did some Googling and found out you need to set yourself up with a European Tesla login, log out of your current Tesla app from your Australian credentials, and log back in using your European so-called email address and account, and then you'll be able to accept that invitation to drive the car if the Turo hosts give them to you. And the reason why that'd be a really good thing if they could do that is you can then monitor things like supercharging progress, so you don't get idle fees and whatever.
Harold Steve
Harold?
got his hand up.
Yeah. Last September, I hired a Tesla through Turo in London. Exactly as Richard was saying, I did not want to be driving a unusual car in a place I've never driven before. And we drove out to Cornwall, etc. But before I took it off the host, I got hold of him and he sent me an invitation so I could actually use my Australian Tesla account. I didn't need to set up a different account. I was then, once he unlocked the car remotely, I was able to get in. He had told me he was going to leave the key card, so I then registered my phone and I used it normally, nothing exceptional. And then when I returned it 7 days later, I took a photo, sent it to the host so he knew where to pick his car. I never met the guy. He didn't actually turn up either direction. He was busy working, but it worked. So my 2 cents worth.
Well, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that clarification. Perhaps Tesla have changed their system, but look, perhaps if you're on mainland Europe, it might be different. And if it is, the pro tip is if for whatever reason you are given that invitation, that link to be a driver a driver of that car, and it doesn't work, then just do what I described a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, Harold, it actually works the other way around, or doesn't work the other way around as well. So when I have guests from the UK or Europe, when I send them the link, it doesn't work most of the time. So yeah, the way they get around it is they just go into the Australian.
Yep. They do the reverse of what I said. Just start up a new account, say they live in Australia, job done.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, perfect. All right, thanks, sir, Richard. And
good
happy
discussion.
travels
Thanks.
when you go. It's the UK is awesome.
Yeah, and petrol cars are crap.
Just watch out if you go to the western parts of Scotland. A lot of the chargers don't work.
Okay.
DCs, just in case.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ken, maybe you could get some of your compatriots to sort stuff out. Just kidding. You're muted. Yeah, no, you're not.
It's okay. I don't speak to people in the west of Scotland anyway. That's the wrong side.
Yes, that's not the side where Perth is. That's right.
Perth's kind of in the middle, and the best cities on the east coast. But I'll stop faking my accent now.
Sorry, what was that, Ken?
Need some subtitles.
I enjoyed
All right.
Kirkwall, Ken, when I was over there. Kirkwall was very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially getting to it by the ferry.
Yeah. No, go visit Scotland. Scotland's fantastic, and ignore everything I said about the West Coast. There's some spectacular places to visit. But yes, as Harold said, I have some colleagues over there, and the charging infrastructure up the west coast tourist route are a bit crap at the moment. But
we were going to go to Skye.
It's so different to the northwest charging infrastructure in Western Australia too.
Yes, indeed. All right, on to happier things. Has anyone else got any questions or comments?
Harold, I missed this is Mike. I missed the first 2 minutes. Can I just a quick clarification? So the preview of the new Model Y.
Tomorrow night from 5 till 8 at the O'Connor showroom.
But I read the thing which says it's for Y orderers only.
Yeah, no. So I clarified that on Facebook, and I inadvertently clarified it to everyone that I sent an email to in response to Damon's email to me that it's for everyone. So that's an error in the wording of the invite, or should I say the website booking form, the RSVP form. That's in error. It's absolutely open to everyone to have a look at.
And we don't need to book?
Please book. If you ask Tesla, they ask everyone to book. Of course, the RSVP is of limited value because, unfortunately, once again, it doesn't show an indication of numbers attending. So each RSVP could be between one and several people attending. So if there's no physical way for you to send an RSVP, then just do turn up. But please do use your best endeavour. If you're on Facebook, or you've got the email, or you can email me, secretary at tokwa.org.au, and I can just send you the RSVP form. So the official line is please RSVP, but it's not mandatory. And like I said, I did ask for a friend.
Harold, Ros had a...
Oh, sorry, Ros, go.
I just wanted to say thank you very much to Tokwa, because I've just been to Tesla service today and had the glass next to the pillar on my left-hand side adjusted and fixed, because you pointed out to Colin that that was a known factory fault and mine was an early Model Y. So they fixed it under warranty, and I would have not known to do anything about it without your help.
Ah, cool.
So thank you very much.
No worries. I'm limping mine along. My car is 2 years old and very much out of warranty, but we'll see how it goes. Actually, Pete, I think you said you've actually got a technique, or you've seen, or you've done it yourself, where you can loosen the glass and retighten it in the right area, the right location, right position.
I have not done it myself, but I've had one of my guests do it for me on my car.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
So voluntarily, yeah. And he was nice enough to ask me whether he could, and he sounded like he knew what he was doing. So I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
if you
cool.
know what you're doing. But yeah, then it did pop out again, and Tesla did fix it themselves again, but it's still it's popping out a little bit more again now. So
Oh, so I should keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Yes,
keep an eye
please
on
do, because you don't want to break that that glass, and it
No.
will eventually break if you're unlucky.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. But I just wanted to say they didn't even argue about doing it under warranty today, so that was lovely.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. Alrighty. On that bit of good news, have anyone else got any good news or good questions, or even bad ones for that matter?
You asked
Or-
them to postpone the reveal till the 2nd. I'm at a ZZ Top concert tomorrow night. The one day they pick, I'm at a concert. And it starts at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'm only
well,
kidding.
it's all about priorities, isn't it? Look, and the thing too is, yes, this is the reveal. It's tomorrow at 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. But obviously, you could just go to Carrington Street the very next day
Yeah.
and see the cars anyway. Don't know when they're going to have bookings ready, test drives, but I presume it'll be pretty promptly. Tesla don't really mess around, so
That'd be good.
and I dare say, without
I've been
direct
hanging out for
confirmation.
this.
Sorry.
I've been hanging out for this. The one day they pick is the day I'm at a concert.
Yes.
if they spin their guitars, it will be worth it.
I'm looking for it. It's got George Thorogood as well, so that's what else I wanted to see.
Well, there you go. That's another event that some TOCWA members are attending, albeit not an official TOCWA event.
Nah.
Very good. Alrighty. Anyone else?
Hey, without wishing to raise a thorny question, remember a few weeks ago we were talking about how maps and the navigation get their speed things?
Yeah.
And I got the impression that people knew people who knew people at main roads and might had a conversation. I was just wondering, has a conversation been had, and was there any comments that can be made publicly?
No, the dog ate my homework. We haven't.
Okay, no problem. Just asking. Just all good. All good.
I've had a lot of trouble with my hair. I've had to wash it often and dry it, and it takes forever.
I have that trouble.
It's a lot of management that needs to be done, and it's quite time consuming. So I promise
Why
I'll.
is it the top row of the people on my screen all have an excellent hairstyle? And into the second row even. Isn't that funny?
Because we're into renewable energy and we need as
That's
much
it.
solar exposure as possible.
That's it.
Dearie me.
Conserving resources.
That's it.
That's right. I could have said something really bad then, but I'm not going to.
Please don't.
No, we just choose to distribute our hairs differently. But enough of that. Sorry. I hope, Russell, that your kids are already asleep, because I wouldn't want to have heard that in the backseat of the car. All
The
right.
driver in the front seat hearing that.
Yeah, but at least they're on autopilot, so they won't run off the road. Now, speaking of things that aren't running off the road, they're just in the water. Is it going to work? Is the Iris Ace, which has quite a few, several hundred refreshed Model Ys. And thankfully, even though it had a bit of a slow start, it is swimming its way towards Frio, and it's now due slightly later at about 11 p.m. on the 5th of May,
Oh, wow.
which is good. So it's actually these things, they don't travel very quickly, but they travel relentlessly, and it's basically between where's it, Sumatra and Java? I think that's right, if my geography's right. But yes, it's on its way.
So has that been pushed back by about 24 hours, because it was scheduled for about 8 o'clock on the 4th?
Yes, but the delivery. Oh, and that's another thing that reminds me. Thanks, Pete. The delivery time frame has moved forwards to from the 13th of May. And I'll just remind people of something else, which is a good general tip.
It's now the 13th of May.
So it's now, whoops, I'll just make sure I don't show anything naughty. Come on, focus. 13th of May.
Yeah.
to the 3rd of
3rd of-
June. Now, just one little pro tip. If you go to what you'll see is check back later. Come on, there we go. Check back later. That's what everyone. Sorry, that's what everyone will see at the moment. Pro tip: if you want to have a more pleasant sort of experience and feel less rushed once you start booking your collection time and all that sort of stuff, is just skip ahead. So you'll see the next thing is insurance. There's insurance. And then you'll get to final payment. Obviously, none of this is ready yet. We don't need to make any payments yet. And then you'll see agreements. Now, I've actually completed this one, but what you'll see is basically a link where you can download the PDF for your registration, and you can also upload it. Now, just a pro tip, you can do it on your phone, but it's just a bit clunky. Just log into your Tesla account, go to your your order for any, this applies to Model 3, Model Y, it doesn't really matter, and it applies into the future. Once you sort of get to that stage 5 where it says, just stand by before we give you a slot to pick up the car, skip ahead to step 8. Log in on your Tesla account using your PC. Go to the document section of that order, and you'll see the the licensing documents. This is registration documents. What I personally do, you can do it any way you like, but the way I do it without having to use paper or print anything out is I will annotate it on my PC, or I actually use an iPad and do the signatures. The rules are that the Department of Transport requires a wet signature, or at least they require a wet looking signature. So what it means is if you just did an annotation using Acrobat or whatever you do to load the PDF, and you just save it and then send it to Tesla, they will know, and then they'll reject it. So what you do is you just print that same filled out document as a PDF, call it a new name. Then what I personally did was I transferred that to my phone, my iPhone. I just did that using OneDrive, or you can do any other means, email or whatever, and then use the Tesla app to upload it to Tesla's system. The reason why I'm saying that is because Pete actually had some issues doing it the alternate method, which is to send it to one of Tesla's email accounts, and they didn't seem to have it, or they couldn't find it or whatever. However, if you do it through the app, it uploads it, you get confirmation it's been uploaded, and in fact you can actually view it. So which is why my notification said completed, and I think I actually said accepted. So it's a lot quicker. And that is a few steps beyond where we are at the moment, which is waiting for a delivery date. So if you sort of can't be bothered and you just do it when it arrives, when they ask you, then that's fine. But you can skip ahead and just save a bit of palaver towards the end, because don't forget you've also got things like insurance to organise before you collect the car. And by the way, you can do insurance prior to getting the registration, the number plate. All you need is the VIN, and the VIN it's in your account now if they've contacted you, and you've also got it in your documents folder, which has the final invoice. The VIN is clearly stated on the final invoice. Alrighty. Yeah, so great news for the Iris Ace. It's on its way. Alrighty, any other questions or comments?
Speaking of water, I saw a random, clip on the old X, where I think a Chinese person's Tesla had gone into a lake or river. And did you know that the Tesla will automatically open the windows in the boot so you can escape if it finds itself submerged?
Wow.
In fact, number 7, it said.
Oh, okay.
Because the issues about being underwater in a car, it's a bit tricky to get out and all that stuff. So somebody at Tesla thought about it, and it's as if decides it's submerged, it'll open the windows and the boot.
That'd be an interesting thing to confirm, although expensive.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Mm.
that would be a bit expensive.
Sure, Tesla know. You just ask them.
I'm sure
probably in
Mr.
the
B-
manual.
Probably. Actually, yeah, if anyone's keen, have a look in the manual. That might say that. That's interesting. Well, that does assist with people complaining about EVs in general not being able to be escaped out of safely. So yeah, there's no reason why that's a good feature actually. And it's easy to tell if you're underwater because things start shorting out. So yeah, that's a good thing.
I don't know why this car ended up in the water. It was driving along at night, decided to go round another car that was parked, and it just kept going straight into the lake instead of round on the road. So I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, well, I've lately gotten onto Dashcams Australia, and you don't need what you see on that. And I've seen Teslas be T-boned in interesting ways, and there's no shortage of interesting scenarios. So yeah, very good. Alrighty. Anyone got any sort of basic questions or anything they want to know about their car or buying the car or owning it, insuring it?
I did see with the latest update for the phone that under service you can now check like your battery health.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I know that you could do it through service and all that sort of stuff. But it's just like you just click on it and then it just gives you a quick little thing. That's pretty
Yes.
cool.
And if you're on an 11 kilowatt charger, which many of us are, so three phase, 16 amps, it really only takes half a dozen hours, even though it does say it can take up to 24 hours. I think it says something like that from memory. The thing is,
17.
17. And the
Yeah.
thing is, you can only do the test once every 6 months. So I actually
Yeah.
tested my car last a week and a half ago, and now I won't be able to test it until after I've sold it. So it's every 6 months.
And your battery's got to be below 20% to do it.
Yes, and
Right.
and actually, the closer to zero, the better, because the car will literally just waste the last X percent that you start with, because it will take the battery to zero. So please feel free to do, if you're a bit nervous, just do bog laps around the block or do a few loops around whatever, and get it down to like less than 5%, because what it literally does is when you first start the test, the aircon fans and everything all the fans go onto full bore, and it deliberately wastes heat through the drivetrain and the air conditioning system to basically consume energy to flatten the battery completely before it fully charges it back up. The other thing too is, please strategically do it so that you'll predict that the test will finish while you're awake, so you can then take the car for a bit of a drive. Sorry, this is if it's a long range car and it's got the NCA batteries, where on your charge slider it says daily or trip. Please, if it's only those cars, don't worry about the other ones. If it's those kind of cars, please be aware of when the test finishes, so you can take the car for a quick spin just to burn off the battery down to, well, roughly 80%, if at all possible.
Yeah,
Good tip.
this was with the phone. So we got an update with the phone.
Yep.
And so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a battery health thing now.
Yeah.
So you just click on
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
if I can see it.
There is in my 3 as well.
Yeah. So then you click on like battery health, and then it'll actually just do a quick, just sort of has an analysis of what it is before you've even done it. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what's yours say, Paul?
Healthy. So
Yeah, what
it just sort of gives you like says like your battery's within retention within health, the expected range for the age and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so mine's at 86%. So I tested
Yeah.
it on the 13th of April.
Yeah.
But that's with an actual test. So
That's with the test, yeah.
That's with a test.
So if you're sort of worried and you don't have to do the test if it gives you the tick. But then if you really want to do it, then
Yeah,
that's just a quick way. Sorry, yeah.
I did it so that it also it alters the number of kilometers it guesses that you've got left where the actual battery symbol is, where it either shows as a percentage or kilometers.
Yep.
So once you've done a test and on the presumption there's been a slight bit of degradation, it will then slightly alter the indicated distance on the battery symbol, which can be useful because it's better to have a more realistic number than a less realistic one.
Yeah.
One thing I'd add to that is I just did the battery test myself. Literally on the day they actually sent the actual update out, the update came out as I was actually doing the battery check, which is a pain. So I would like to have done it through that rather than having to jump through the surface mode. But the one thing I did accidentally do, I think, was I stopped the charging. I plugged it all in, but I then physically on the phone stopped it charging because it was putting battery power into the car when I was about to do the battery check. So I thought, oh, I better stop that. So then it ran the battery down, which makes one hell of a din, by the way. Please just be aware that it makes a hell of a din. You might disturb your neighbours. It's that noisy. It really is when it's running all these fans and stuff. It makes a hell of a din. It then ran it all down. It flattened the battery. When I woke up in the morning, it was still flat. It hadn't automatically started charging.
Yes,
And
so
I think that was because I stopped the charge manually. So don't stop the charge if you're going to do that. And also then I charge it, and I've only got 7 kilowatts single phase charger, and it took just around about 8 hours.
Perfect. Colin, you got your hand up.
Sorry, trying to find my buttons. Yeah, I got a question. I was trying to think of a solution, and I'm interested in if you guys can come up with anything. I sometimes go scuba diving, and I was trying to think of a solution to when, say, both people in the car go in the water together, how you would handle sort of locking the car. Because in my Subaru Outback that I used to have, I just got a dumb key cut, so I didn't have any of the central locking or anything, and I basically put everything inside the car and then locked it with that key through the keyhole on the outside, and then you take the key with you under the water, go do your dive, come back and unlock the car that way.
Your key card.
Work out how you would do it in a Tesla.
Off the top of my head, the quickest, without thinking and doing lots of tests, is just turn off the Tesla apps on both phones, and it'll warn you, you'll lose phone key functionality, and then just use your key card, tap it on the pillow, and it should lock. And then when you walk away,
go swimming with it because it's not.
It should be, and then you can go swimming with your key card because it's a seal.
That was my question. Yeah, can the key cards get wet?
Yeah. You can always put it, if you're really worried, you could always put it in a Ziploc bag, but it basically is, it basically should be and is a hermetically sealed, it's an RFID card reader, a card. So it's got very, very thin wires spooled around the perimeter of the card and a tiny, tiny little microprocessor, and it's all embedded in plastic. So it's all waterproof. But by all means, if you're at all concerned, just chuck in a Ziploc bag and you'll be right.
Cool.
I actually scuba dive and have had this exact same problem. I just turn my phone off and throw it under the seat because it's easier than disabling stuff, and it's not like you're using it while you're in the water. And I put my card in a Ziploc bag and bury it under my towel. So I don't take it in the water with me, which you probably could, but I just bury it under my towel, so it's discreetly.
Right. So
but you can use the pin, right? If you're concerned about someone stealing the car, you can turn the pin on in the car.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, but your car will be open, so you want to lock your car. So if anyone's walking on the beach and they see a monogrammed towel that says Saxon on it, just dig under it, and you might find a key card, and you could get into his car.
Yeah.
And a Tesla. That's right. If you see a Tesla parked on a lonely
Tesla
beach
with no badges on it.
So there you go, Colin. Easy peasy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You can also get, I don't know, excuse me, I don't know how waterproof they are, but, excuse me. Harold, you go on to someone else. I've lost my
Yeah, no,
thoughts.
that's all right. The other thing you can do too is, I actually haven't bothered doing this, but if you've got an iWatch, I think you can do that as a phone key as well.
You can.
You can.
And
Yeah, you absolutely can.
given that you can, you could lock your car with that and go scuba diving with that, depending on how far your watch can handle scuba diving.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Just a thought.
If you've got a Apple Watch Ultra, yes, but an ordinary Apple Watch, no.
Right, well, that just shows how many times I go scuba diving.
Just a heads up as well. If you're camping and your tent is very, very close to your car, just be aware that can actually mean your car's actually unlocked all night as well. So that's the idea to turn your phone off then as well.
Oh, but I think you can't you still, even though it's within range, you can still lock your car through the app and it will lock.
Mhm.
And I don't think it'll unlock until you move around or something. So
Not sure on that one. I know while I was camping, I did try it once and it opened. So I just turned the phone off after that when I went to sleep.
You can also get rings with the RFID wires in them. I'm just not sure how waterproof they are. They are waterproof, but I don't know how many meters underwater you can go with them. But you can also get chips implanted under your skin if you wanted to go the next level.
yes, please don't.
Yeah, the
I don't know.
keycard should be fine.
Neuralink is coming up soon.
I'd be very surprised if the keycard had any issues at scuba depth. It'll be fine.
It'd only be if you had it in your pocket and you went to do something and you accidentally bent it and broke it, because that would be the risk, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Cool.
That being said, a quick question: if you are near your car, like the camping, for example, say someone jumps in your car and drives off, but they don't have a card or your phone, what happens then?
They
can keep going until the battery goes flat or until they get out of the car, and if they get back in, it won't restart.
Yeah, right.
Now you could.
Do you call Tesla support or something?
Yeah, you probably would, and you'd probably try and beg them to stop the car, and they'll probably say they can't because if it's moving,
safety.
But you could plead with them to ring the cops or something.
They can reduce the speed, can't they?
Yeah, they can reduce the speed. You can set the speed. You can set speed.
Put the seat heater on and put the aircon on all the way up. Put the music full bore.
Toot the horn.
Toot the horn. Flash the lights.
I got to tell you guys a funny story. I've been away to New Zealand fishing with my brother, and my wife came to the airport to pick us up, and she said, "Yeah, that was great." And said, "Oh, you drive home, no worries. Where's the car?" She says, "Oh, it's up this road near this white ute." So we walked up that road, couldn't see the white ute, couldn't find it. I was getting bugger. So I've got 2 Teslas. I've got a Model 3 and a Y. So I opened up the app and I popped the boot. Couldn't see my car. What? Flash lights. Couldn't see anything. Beep the horn. Nothing. What the hell? Anyway, the dog was home alone while the car was beeping in the garage and the lights were flashing. And so I'd had the wrong bloody car, hadn't I? So I was beeping the Model 3, not the Model Y. Anyway, so I figured that out after, a couple of minutes. So then I beeped the horn. It was about 100 metres away. We found the car.
Best thing to do is, if all that fails, go into the location and have a look at the location. And if you see that the car is at your home rather than at the airport, you've got the wrong car.
Well, I won't do it twice, but anyway, it was quite amusing. So there you go. Go to have fun.
Absolutely.
So the dog must have been going mad as I'm beeping the horn in the garage.
Yes, such is the issue with if you are a multiple Tesla family, make sure you pick the correct one.
At least I didn't blow up the power walls.
Yes.
At least you didn't do that for the Model Y home in the garage. You may have crashed into the garage ceiling depend on the height?
No,
yeah.
it's all set.
Model 3 is good, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've modified the way my garage door opens so it can't hit the boot, and I park up against a spot, and it's only about 3 inches clearance, but it's perfect. Ask me
Good.
how I know why I did it.
I've got a bit of carpet wrapped around a certain spot where mine will hit if I don't grab it in time.
Very good. Alrighty. I've been trying to find, by the way, we had a question last week, and I'll try and get it a little bit later in the program. There was a question about opening the charge port door, and I did actually go to AliExpress, and I think you just Google something like Tesla charge port opener, door opener, and I don't know why, but mine cost $1.98, so I bought it. I can only buy one, but when I tried to buy another one, it's something like $10, and it cost it. That's delivered. So if anyone is interested in opening their charge port door remotely,
that was me that last week, Harold. I'll get.
Oh yes, Trev. Yeah. So it's on AliExpress.
I was going to go buy the parts that James put in the chat last week and have a look at it this break. But if it's only $1, then I'll get the wife to just order one.
Well, it might be. Look, maybe I got a special deal because they were trying to entice me back, or maybe it was like 80% off or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but I was mystified because I could only order one, and I thought that's strange. I couldn't up it to 2. I was going to buy at $1.98. I was going to buy 10 of them and maybe give some away or something. But yeah, just have a look at AliExpress. If you Google it, it comes up. It's a red remote. So
perfect.
Yeah, it's super easy, and it should cost less than $20 in any case, and that's a whole lot cheaper than a Tesla proper remote.
Sounds good. I've got a spare button on my garage opener. I might try and tee it into that. I got a wall plate on the wall that 3 buttons don't do anything. I'll see if it's got a switch on it. I'll just rewire it and hide it in the wall somewhere.
Or can it just learn the code?
No, it probably won't, because I actually make those kind of remotes. Well, sort of 433 UHF remotes, and the thing is, it's all in the encryption key. So Tesla have probably got quite a lot of serial numbers. But because it's low it's zero security, it only works when your car is unlocked. So
it's a non-rotating code. It's well known. There's Arduino code fixed. You can whack into an AT-Tiny and just transmit it.
Yep. Yes. So it's very low security, very easy. It won't you won't be able to use it to learn into your garage door or whatever, because that remote these days is all but certain to be rolling code. Yep. Except for the most absolute terribly basic ones that no one should be selling. But yeah, they're super cheap. And like I said, if you just Google it, it comes up red. I think from memory it's a triangular shape, and it's on AliExpress, and it's just ridiculously cheap. Mine's actually on its way. I was hoping it might have made it today, but I'll probably get it tomorrow. And I only ordered it a few days ago. Alrighty. Any more questions or comments?
I know we talked about the app update and how it relates to battery status, but the other thing that snuck in with that was related to that with that update was the car now displays kilometer ranges based on how you've actually driven, rather than the fixed algorithm that has been the case since forever. So very interesting. Mine suddenly displays slightly less. That may have something to do with my right foot.
Magically.
But yeah, it's a really interesting update. I'm very pleased, because it was kind of annoying that the range was always just a bit of a made up number, but now it's actually computed based on how you drive.
Yeah, cool. One thing that the update has not yet given us, which I guess is going to come in Tesla's so-called spring update, which I guess you call it our autumn update, is the option to permanently power your 12-volt outlets or outlets if you want to do things like camp and have a fridge or something like that, a 12-volt fridge in your car, or some other accessory, Starlink or something. So that's something that's not yet in any of the updates yet, but that should be just around the corner as well. So that was
I think it's in 2025.14, which isn't in wide release in Australia yet. So 8's been out for a while. It's been on Hardware 3 cars for a while, but just got released for Hardware 4 cars in the last week or two, and 14 should be coming soon. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and
perfect.
it also adds related to our slightly recently conversation. You can save your trunk height on location. So if your garage is particularly low, you can set a trunk height, and it'll only set it for that location and go back to full height when you're putting your shopping in.
Yeah, which is actually really useful because a lot of people have restricted height. I did end up finding, if you just Google Tesla charge port remote control, it's now showing as $6.29. I presume that's in Australian dollars. So, or if you really can't be bothered, it looks like you can get it from Tesseries as well. But, whatever. That's just easy to do. Cool. All right. We got anything else?
Yeah, I've got a quick one. I'm just looking at the prices of a Model Y, new one. How do you work out a trade-in? Where do you do that on the website?
When you order the car. So when you order it, it'll ask you questions after you've ordered it, I think, on things such as...
paid your money?
No, your deposit. So after you've done your deposit...
right, okay.
Then it will ask you whether you want to finance it, and whether it's through Tesla Finance or through your own finance or cash, and also if you have a trade-in. And then I think at that time, it'll then ask you some questions about the trade-in. To be honest, I don't think that usually happens later in the piece when the car is a few weeks away from arriving. Then I think they actually do things like they'll ask you for various photos around the car, and they ask you for a general condition description of the car, and then they farm it out to an external party, and they'll just get you a generic price, and they then follow up with how you do that. And what you basically do is you hand over your old car on the day that you collect your new one, and then it just gets loaded on a flatbed truck to elsewhere.
Cool.
But there's no way of getting a price before you go down that route. But I guess, of course, if they give you a price and you don't like the price, then you can say, no, I'll just go cash or finance, thanks, and sell it privately or whatever.
From personal experience, you can leave it pretty late to decide not to take the trade-in, and they don't care. You just decline it. You just uncheck the checkbox before you pay for the car, and you just pay without the trade-in. But yeah, it's after you put in your deposit, and part of the early round of things you put in, information you put in, they'll ask you whether you're planning to do a trade-in, and then you can start the process then. So yeah, I don't think you can negotiate a trade-in before you've put down a deposit.
No, that's correct. Yep. John, you got your hand up.
And you're muted.
Oh, sorry, you're muted, John.
Oh, is that me, John?
Yes, got you.
Dealing with personal.
Oh no, sorry, not John Lemming. Sorry, John McCall. And I'll go back to you, John Lemming. If you got a question, but John, go.
Personalized plates when you do a trade-in. How does that work when you want to swap them to the new car if you're trading it in on the day? Any ideas on that? Or
yeah. Okay. If they're personalized, it'd be best just to before you trade your old car in, go to Department of Transport and hand them back. And you may just say when you're handing them back, you want to swap them for generic plates, but tell them that you are trading the car in, and it could be on the same day, and hopefully they'll agree to hold them physically and not remake them or something. I don't exactly know how it works, but you can just hand them back, swap them with ordinary ones, go and drop your old car off, get up, pick up your brand new one, go back to the same branch, and hopefully they can then just say, yep, no worries, we'll then return them back to you after swapping them with the brand new plates that are on the new car, and then Bob's your uncle. That's it. And you pay twice. You pay two transfers, 2 plate transfers, which is not very much.
It's about 20, $30 or something, but you're right, Harold, they will hold on to them. So you can just hand them back and they'll keep them physically in storage for you.
Okay. Thanks, Pete.
Harold, we actually did that with our second Tesla, and they just Tesla actually transferred the plate from the old to the new on the day we picked up. So we didn't have to hand them in and pick them up and stuff like that.
That was an old
Just have
Tesla to a new Tesla.
Yes.
Oh,
You
very
just have
good.
to tell Tesla that, and they do it for you.
Very good. Very good. I dare say they might not be able to do that for a trade-in car, but actually, John, do ask them. Just call them and say, hey, is this possible? And then if it is, then that's just simpler because it costs you, well, nothing. And it's more convenient.
Ours was a trade-in with Tesla.
Oh, sorry. And it wasn't a Tesla that was the original trade-in.
No, it was a Tesla.
Oh, yes. No.
But
Okay.
we
So my
traded in
only
with
concern is
if it's not a Tesla, that could be
if it's
sold.
not a Tesla, I don't know whether Tesla has the ability to use one of their stock plates mainly intended for Teslas to do the swapping. I'm not sure if they, but maybe they've got that ability. Maybe they're a fully fledged or singing and dancing they can do online registrations and stuff themselves, which is why I was explaining a few weeks ago that none of the Juniper Model Ys that are on the boat now can even be partially registered prior to delivery, because Tesla themselves, because they are the entity that actually does the proper registration, they have to physically cite each car. So maybe Tesla can do it. Yeah, John, just ring them and ask them.
Yeah, it's Model Y to Model. It'll be Model Y to Model Y.
So in that case, then it will work because Norm just said so. Yeah, so then it'll work, John. No problems. But just give them a buzz in any case, just to give them the heads up, because you don't want that fraught feeling of, oh God, now I've got to run around, just in case on the day they go, oh, we can't do it today. Sort of
tie up the loose ends. Tie up the loose ends first. Yep.
Yeah, very good. Now, sorry, John Lemming, you might have ended up having a question after all.
It was only, I put it in the chat, but I don't have the Tesla myself at the moment, but I'm waiting on Juniper, so only a few weeks away, so it's getting pretty exciting.
Cool.
The query was just, I think it's probably already been discussed anyway. It's just the recent software update. I was wondering if there was anything else. We talked about the the battery health, etc. But yeah, was anything else noticed by anybody?
Yeah, so the one it's not out yet. The one that's really going to be useful for a lot of people is, originally the 12-volt outlets would basically stay on the whole time, pretty much. And also, even if they weren't staying on the whole time, they would certainly stay on if your car was on charge. But some months ago, Tesla, I think it was late last year, or late, no, maybe a little bit earlier than that, but sometime last year, Tesla then decided to turn that off. And the only way you could keep the 12-volt outlet running was to be in camp mode. But in camp mode, you couldn't lock the car. And you also had to have the air conditioner running, although there were certain ways around that. You could just put it on fan only and stuff. But it's a faff, and it's not great if you're doing long road trips and you've got something like, say, a 12-volt fridge or Starlink for that matter, or something that wants to be on most of the time. So Tesla have said that in their upcoming update, which Ken alluded to, I think, Ken, you said version 14, well, 2025.14.
Yeah, 2025.14, yeah.
And the way the software revisions work, by the way, is 2025 is obviously the year. Then there's a dot, and then the next number is the week of the year. So 14 is the 14th week, which is probably sometime in March, I guess, middle of March-ish. So that denotes the week in which that software main thing has been written or finalized or whatever. And then after that, you've got dot releases, such as dot 1, 2, 3, whatever, depending on minor revisions. So that's how that works. But yeah, so John, that's the only thing that's really left to be outstanding as far as features for the time being. That will be coming out.
.8 added some other user interface tweaks, which are probably not all that significant to most people. They changed the way that traffic displays on the map, and also how superchargers display on the map. Apart from that, there's not a lot.
In the chat, I've put a link to some release notes if people want to have a look at that. Not a Tesla app.
Oh yeah, in America they've got adaptive headlights, which we've had for quite a while now. But
yeah, like how not a Tesla app put not relevant in Australia because we've had them for a year now.
Yes,
love it.
Nearly, yeah. That you're right, Ken, because it wasn't soon after I returned with car damage as a result of not having high beams on and other things that I thought to myself, oh, if only that had worked then. But yeah, so it's about a year. You're right, Ken.
Yeah, 14 will be great. It'll add a bunch of new stuff, including recording the pillar cameras, and
yes.
You can navigate based on preferences, like take me a scenic route, take me where there's good food, all that sort of cool stuff. So, but yes, trunk height and obviously keep the 12-volt sockets on are the two probably biggest highlights for Australia.
Yeah, because the sockets have been a bit of a bugbear, to be perfectly honest, for a lot of people. It's just annoying. You imagine you're on a picnic or something like that, or a day trip, and you've got your 12-volt fridge, and you park your car, or you might go and charge your car and go for a walk or whatever. And when you come back, you find that your fridge has been off the whole time you're not in the car. So that's kind of annoying. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff in the spring update if you happen to own a Cybertruck or a new Model S. But sadly, that doesn't apply to us.
The Cybertruck, it's either a matter of if, not when, or it could be when, not if. So
I just want my Model S plaid.
Oh, steady on.
I don't care about all you guys that want a Cybertruck. I want my Model S plaid. I even bought the T-shirt, and
come on.
And it's even sadder now that I've just sold my Model S. So
No, come on, Ken. There were two happiest days of your life: the day you bought your Model S, and the day you sold it.
Oh, look, I don't know about that. It was a tough day. It was just after 8 years, and it's been an awesome car. I've never kept a car that long.
No. How many Ks did you get on it, Ken? Must be well over 100.
Well, it just went past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I've got a photo of that. So I think it was just around about 126,000. So it was pretty low mileage, frankly, for an 8-year-old car.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all righty. Any more questions? We're in the first hour down. One to go.
Can I just ask Paul one quick question?
Go, Mark.
Sure.
Gossie, you said you got that battery setting in the app. I've just checked my app and I can't find that. Where is it in the app?
Under service.
Let's go down to service.
Yep. You might need to update your app, but we've had a couple of updates.
Battery health, got it. Found it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I went through everywhere, but not that bit.
Yeah,
typical.
you do.
I should have known because you have to go into service mode to get to it. So I should have known.
Every time I get an update with the phone app, I go through everything. Click everything, because there's always inevitably some random thing. Yeah. I wish they would actually tell us exactly what they've actually done, as opposed to minor fixes and improvements, just to make our lives a bit easier with that.
Yeah.
But
I generally for Apple stuff, when they do things on that, I tend to go through a few of the YouTube videos, and they say whatever's gone through, as they've done that. That's what you need to do. Do a YouTube channel just doing that.
If there was money in it.
Paul, we'd all watch your YouTube channel if you told us all the minutiae.
You'd really be bored.
Come on, everyone knows there's no money in it.
Yeah. Actually, I'd probably be a bit unhinged.
Well, there's only Harold who's on a YouTube channel making loads of money out of this.
Tons.
On that note, please do like and subscribe. We need to get 1,000 subscribers before we can monetize this channel. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah.
We only do it for the love.
Yep.
You do a
Slash
great
hate.
job too. Thank you very much, all of you.
Ah, no, it's all good. It's all good fun.
Hey,
And I
Harold,
used to
at the risk.
go on, Ken.
No, I have an actual question which I've been, holding off on asking. But at the risk of reinventing something that's come around before, have we had any, for what you can or can't reveal, intelligence from Tesla about whether we will get Summon on AI4 any time before FSD comes out, or do we have to wait for
Oh
FSD
no,
for
there's
Summon to
been
work on AI4?
yeah, no mention of that whatsoever.
Okay. Because that's the
Some
one thing I've noticed missing my Model S. This car, the new backdrop doesn't have Summon still.
Gee, that's a good
Not
point.
even stupid Summon.
Yeah, right. I wish I'd known because I just had the quarterly meeting with Tesla too, so I could have asked that question. Damn it.
Stick it on the next round.
Yeah, no, absolutely, will do.
Because that'll affect your new Model Y as well, because it'll be AI4.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
For
indeed.
the fifth time that you buy FSD.
And I'm going to. No, it's not the fifth. It's the first. No, I had an X, a Y, a Y, and a Y. That'll be the fourth time. Only the fourth time.
It's only spent $40K.
Yeah, I only spent $40,400, and one day it'll be worth it. One day.
Oh, that's okay. No worries. Put it on the agenda for the next one.
Yeah, we'll do.
Be good for AI4 cars to actually get even stupid Summon to get in and out of the garage. It'd be nice.
Yeah, and look, one thing I do know is Tesla is working very, very hard on getting FSD supervised into Australia. So
for sure, yeah.
So that's something
and then of course it'll come with that.
Yes.
Actually, Smart Summon will come along with FSD.
Yes, but if you don't have if you haven't paid for it, I guess you'll just get.
You probably won't get it. Although AEP used to get stupid Summon.
Yes.
Forward and back Summon. So I'm assuming that will happen. But yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, but sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just never thought to ask.
I've got something.
Oh, yes, Richard.
I just browsing and I've just found. I put it on the chat. Cyber Metals. It was on Facebook. Could do a spare wheel kit for a Model 3 and Y, everything like I had with my modern spares, $365 Australian.
Yes, and I think Brownmac also do something similar.
But not that for that sort of price?
Yeah.
That's how much I paid.
Yep. Yeah,
Cool.
Actually, mine was cheaper.
Was it? Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
and
then
it's
when
the
you
same
had delivery, it was $370.
And it's the same kit too, because that's exactly the same crank, and that's the same jack, and they've got a thingy and the gloves, and that's the same crank, and I mean, whatever.
Yeah, okay, cool. I just hadn't seen it at that price before, and I've been out of the loop for a little while, so there you go. Cool.
I just don't have the triangle there.
Oh no, there's no safety triangle, by the
that
look
I got with mine.
of it. No. Sorry, Richard, the reason why my jaw dropped to the ground was I thought when you said Cyber Metals, I thought you meant we could get like a skinny spare for a Cybertruck, which would be a step in the right direction,
That's
if you're optimistic.
All we need is I've just got a spare tire. I've got nothing else.
Hey, back in the day, some of us early adopters, before we got our cars, we got the charger, so we could, because Tesla would send it out for you for free, because that came complimentary, and they'd actually send it months before you got your car, so you could get it installed, I guess, and look at it and ponder when you were going to get your car.
I had my 19-inch wheels for my Model Y before the car arrived, or my performance Model Y, which I took off instantly, and they're in my attic ready. When I sell the car, it'll have brand new wheels and tires on it.
Yeah, mine too. My hardly used Model Y will have 10,000 kilometre tyres and Uber turbines. So that should seal the deal if anyone wants to buy it for not very much. Anyway, alrighty. Anyone else?
Hey, Richard.
Yo.
Brownmouth has that modern spare equivalent.
Yep.
it's $295.
Oh, wow.
They charge, and it works. They've confirmed that it works for both the Juniper as well as the Legacy Model Y. And but they do charge $50 shipping, so I'm not sure how much the other side charges for shipping.
I just tend to say I paid a lot more than that for mine when I bought mine from my Model 3 years ago.
Oh, I think Harold and I paid, what was it, like $1,500 landed in Perth? Something
Yes, for a modern spare, that's right.
Yeah, mine was about 800. So, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we were, again, early adopters. The great thing about generic products like that is the price flattens out pretty quickly because there'll always be someone else who will make less margin than the other person. And it flattens out pretty well. So really, if you are going to, for the sake of $350 odd delivered, it's for a $50, $60, $70, $80, $90,000 car, it's kind of a no-brainer. Just have your own in a bag. You'll always have it. You never have to go and borrow it. Although obviously, as a financial club member, you can absolutely borrow wheels, and we do have several in the Model 3 and the Model Y in stock in Malaga. But yeah, for the sake of for $350, for less than a Tesla share, you can have your own, and know that you're the only person that's ever used it. So that's pretty cool. Alrighty, anyone else?
Harold, I wanted to mention what I mentioned before about the fact that the refreshed Model 3, you can't resume your resume the speed. If you reduce the speed and you just press and hold on the old 3, you could resume the speed limit. In case you haven't mentioned it to Tesla, that should be on your list as well.
Yes, and I guess that's something that's really going to annoy me when I get my Juniper Y, because no doubt the autopilot and all that'll be on as a button. I think it's on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. So yeah, that's going to be annoying for someone used to doing it the better way.
Have a look tomorrow, Harold. Have a look tomorrow.
Oh yeah, but you can't drive it. We won't be driving the car.
Oh yeah, but just if it's marked there or not.
Yeah, from memory, it is. I've seen a review. There was a good, actually, couple of videos of the refreshed Model Ys. One was the long range. I'm not sure if it was the launch edition or it might have been the standard long range edition. And the more recent video is the standard range rear wheel drive, and that was by Chasing Cars, and is actually not a bad review. I mean, obviously, the ironic thing is when they review the long range and the standard range, obviously when they talk about the interior, it's pretty much the same. And, driving around is pretty much the same. The only numbers it changes is range and a couple other minor things. But yeah, they're pretty good reviews. And that they definitely had the fact that the autopilot, like I said, I think it's like a round dot that's got several rings in it or something. I don't exactly know what that means. Or maybe that was some other button. But yeah, they are on the steering wheel controls. And like the Highland Model 3, the refreshed Model Y, you don't have a gear direction or a direction stalk. You have to do the swipe up and swipe down on the screen. Or I think you might be able to set it to automatically suggest a direction.
I haven't swiped a direction on my screen in probably a month and a half.
So it works well, Ken, that automatic
It works
thingo?
really, 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 really well. Like I get in the car, you have to put your seatbelt on, and then you tap the brakes, it's in drive, you drive away, and then you park in a parking spot, and then when you reverse out of the parking spot, it says turn the steering wheel, tap the brakes, it shifts to front, you drive.
You tried a 3-point turn by any chance? Does it? Yeah, sorry.
No, that's the times when you do need to do it.
Okay.
But look, for everyday driving, I really, hand on my heart, I haven't swiped up and down to choose drive or reverse since I can't remember. AI4 is spectacular. And yes, you won't miss the autopilot stalk after a while. You just get used to double tapping with your thumb, and it just does it. I would like to have an indicator stalk though, so that makes me slightly jealous about the Y, because the indicators, despite my comments on Facebook defending them, are a bit sucky. But
Can you single tap for cruise control? Or I was seeing a review. That said,
Yes, you can. Yeah,
It's a setting though, is it not, Ken? It's a setting in your autopilot.
It's the same. It's the same as the setting for the other cars. You can have the double pull of the stalk or the single pull of the stalk for, and you can switch, and the same applies to the button. So you can either have single tap for cruise or single tap for autopilot in that setting. I leave it in double tap.
And a pro tip is, as enticing as it might seem to do a single tap for autopilot, the one wrinkle in that is that if you want to go into TAC, the only way you can do it is to go into autopilot and then do something like wiggle the steering wheel with more than 2 kilos of force to disengage autopilot, in which case it then disengages down to TAC, or traffic aware cruise control. So, and that's just super painful because you don't always want autopilot. Or actually, you can't always get autopilot because you haven't got proper line markings, but you can get TAC. And it's like you can't climb the hill to fall back down because you can't get to the top bit. So it's just, I think almost all of us that have experienced in the cars just go, no, we want our double tap, thanks, because at least then we're in control.
Leave it on double tap. Yeah.
Zombie mode. Double tap.
That's right. Very good. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I've got another subject. When I was in Sydney, I went for an Uber in a green, Uber green, which is nice. And it was Polestar 2. And the guy, I said, why didn't you buy a Tesla? I don't want a Tesla, and then just didn't want a Tesla. It doesn't even have an app. It's not even an app. And it's really cramped. And, oh dear. Teslas are really nice, let me tell you.
The user interface is quite slow, especially if you play around with it quite a bit. It starts to really slow down.
It does have an app.
It does. Well, he said.
It needs to bone up a little bit on what his car can actually do. But yes, it does have an app.
He's done 125,000 Ks in just over a year, so he uses it.
Yeah. Now my brother bought a Polestar 2 because I had a Tesla, because my brother and I are a bit like that.
You're the smart one.
I guess Polestar 2 is okay, but it does have an app, and the software in the car is all just Android Auto-y kind of based. So it has all the pros and cons of that. There are pros, but many more cons, in my humble opinion.
But it must have a slow chip or something in it, Ken, because I've played around with it, and if you're going back and forth and going into a few menus, it does start to slow down to a point where it just sort of almost freezes and buffets for like 5 seconds before it catches up.
Yeah. To quote Tesla Bjorn, so laggy.
Wait for the legacy lag.
Yeah, almost as laggy as my mate's Cupra Born, but apparently Volkswagen are working on that.
And they're so renowned for being so good on software too, Ken. Volkswagen, that is.
Don't make any comments about anyone.
They'll have it done by the end of the decade. Don't worry.
Yeah.
As a previous German car fanatic, I'm
they're catching up
somewhat
fast
disappointed.
Tesla. They really are catching up fast.
Yeah.
Yes. The competition's coming for Tesla.
Any minute now, an actual
vein,
Tesla killer will get released.
Yes.
On a similar vein, has anyone been to San Francisco recently?
In what respect?
I was there in April, so we decided to go in a Waymo.
Oh, cool!
To see what self-driving's like, driverless, and it really surprised me because Shirley, my wife, said, "There's no way on earth I'm getting into a taxi or any car which drives itself without a driver. No way on earth." When we got to our hotel, we're walking around the streets. Literally walked 5 minutes. 4 or 5 Waymos would come past. They're just cruising around all the time. People are jumping in. After about a day, I said, well, when we go out tonight, if you're all right, might think about picking up a Waymo. She went, all right. So I downloaded the app, did it all. One arrived. It wouldn't pull up outside the pub, which we're coming out of. It said it's too dangerous. So it pulled over onto a side street where it was nice and safe, which is fair enough, right? So we crossed over the road, got into the car, got the thing, pressed the button, the doors opened, you got in, got in the back, it drove off nice, a reasonable pace. It wasn't slow, it wasn't, but it's a Jaguar I-Pace. I think I-Pace or E-Pace, can't remember what it is, but it's a Jaguar.
Yeah.
They are horrible. Shirley got in and she was actually struggling to get into the back of it. And I think, well, just get in. And once she got in, I shut the door, went around. He's like, I got in, I caught me foot, banged my head. There's no room to get in. I thought, what a crap car to actually use as an Uber effectively. But I got in it, we drove it, and it drove great. There's no problem about it. But it's ugly as sin with these blooming spinning LiDAR everywhere. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. And so that just got me to the stage where thinking, if Tesla can get it working, my wife Shirley, would never ever thought about getting into an autonomous vehicle, that just goes straight out the window. Once you've seen a few people doing it, you've heard of a few people doing it. And I was talking to people in the area and stuff. They said, oh yeah, I'd much rather put my kids in one of these than in an Uber. Because it's the driver in there. You don't whether you could safe with a thing. Totally safe with a car that drives itself. But taking the driver away actually makes it better, not worse.
Yeah,
So I was
absolutely.
just absolutely blown away. Absolutely blown away. But they are really dear. They're not cheap.
Well,
They're
they're
dearer than catching a
way
standard
more money.
Uber.
Yeah.
They cost way more money.
Way more.
Waymo.
But just from a pure point of view of using them, I don't think there's a problem. All these people who say there's going to be a problem, no one wants to go in a driverless car. Rubbish. Once they get the idea, they'll go. No one wanted a phone without physical buttons. Didn't take Apple long to actually take that away.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's right.
I love that Q&A. So Pierre Ferragu asked on the earnings call, asked Elon Musk, he said, look, when the 3 and Y came out, he said when the iPhone came out, it was vastly superior than any other flip phone. When the 3 and Y is vastly superior to any petrol car, the iPhone has managed to get 60% market share. The 3 and Y is only at about 15% market share. So why is that? Why is it not at 60%? And Elon's answer was, well, to stay with your phone metaphor, people in the future won't want to buy cars. And he said, I remember at the time when the iPhone came out, I couldn't understand why the manufacturers couldn't see that this was going to be the death of them, why they kept on making more and more flip phones, why they didn't. He said, all the people wanted was just an iPhone. So why not make the iPhone? Why do you keep on making all different flip phones? So I think the analogy is that Tesla's not interested in making more and more flip phones. They just want to make the iPhone. And so he's basically saying that we only want to make a car that's electric and autonomous, because he said, in the very near future, driving a gasoline or a petrol car that's not autonomous will be like riding a horse and using a flip phone. That some people still do it, but it's rare. So I just thought, it was a great answer.
I think also on that line as well, it'll get to the stage where there'll be people like us that'll still want to own our own cars and stuff. But there'll be a few youngsters who will want to own their cars, but there'll be an awful lot of youngsters who just, why do I want to buy a car? I just want to go from A to B. If it's only costing me, $1 a kilometre, I'll just jump in one of those things.
Hey, just a quick quiz, because I'd be really interested to know who, if everyone had to guess what is the ownership cost, annual ownership cost of an average car in Australia. Have a guess of an amount.
$6,000 a year.
Okay, who said?
I'd say about 8.
I would have said 14.
Okay. Any other?
I reckon closer to 20.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Any
not
more?
running.
I'm
Come
trying
on,
to find
Harold,
something
you must
else.
have an opinion.
No, sorry, I'm looking. I'm actually deep into Matt Godin Wilderness's
Maybe
YouTube
12.
video, trying to look for the Model 2 and refute it. But
Oh,
keep going. Yeah.
Is
No,
that
go,
like
Pete.
everything, like depreciation? Is
yeah,
this also
it's got to
petrol and
include
everything?
depreciation.
Just the running costs. So leave out the depreciation, which
Oh, right. Sorry.
we
Mine was
shouldn't
including
leave out.
depreciation.
Depreciation is actually the biggest cost, but yeah,
Okay.
just running costs.
Oh, running costs are nothing.
Go on, let us know, Pete. Go on.
Yeah.
So this is from Budget Direct. The annual cost, the total cost is $24,038 for an average car in Australia, and it does not, I repeat, it does not include the biggest cost, which is depreciation. So
Bloody hell.
they've got registration or CTP and licensing at 1,600. Now this is a Australia-wide average, so I think in WA it's closer to about 1,200. They've got insurance at 1,960, which is pretty much right. Servicing and tyres, they've got 1,760. Petrol, they've got 4,889 a year. Loan repayments are 9,553. Car washing per fortnight. So they've got $15 per fortnight or $780 a year. They've got a new 12-volt battery once every 3 years. Don't know. Oh yeah, so that works out to $33 a year. So that's a pretty cheap battery at $100. But anyway, but interestingly, we don't have this in WA. But the average amount that an Australian spends on road tolls is $3,400 a year. Wow. That's absolutely crazy. And then they've got roadside assistance at $76 a year. So yeah, that's $24,038. Now the average car in WA costs $44,000, and it depreciates about 50% after 3 years. So that's what's that? $22,000 over 3 years. So that's $7,300 in depreciation.
So 30K plus.
Yeah. People don't realise this, and once once people do the figures, once they realise what it costs to own an average car, and the fact that you can, just call your car, your phone, and have it come to you and take you to wherever you need to go, and it's available and safe and safer than you driving, and you get your time back. You can be on your phone, you can watch a movie or whatever. And yeah, you don't have to bother with any of those costs. Yeah, they'll and if
it's incredible.
Uber.
Wow,
just one thing it makes me think of that though is how much is it costing you, Harold?
Oh, you mean ownership?
You do a little bit more than the average kilometres.
Yeah, but he doesn't pay for petrol.
Yeah, so
that's true. Very true.
So I got my car basically 2 years ago. It was about the 17th of April 2 years ago, and it's done 174,982 Ks. So it was out of normal warranty.
You're pushing a bit over the average there.
Yes, I had to answer the question on the insurance. Do you drive less than 10,000, less than 15,000? I had to say more than 20,000 Ks a year. It was out of warranty, normal warranty after 9 months, and it's going to be out of its battery and drivetrain warranty before the end of this next lap, starting on the weekend. So, but yeah, so when I sell it, it will have probably done about 200,000 Ks. And
when you give it away,
yeah, but it'll have great tyres and wheels on it. It'll have brand new Uber turbine wheels. Yeah,
I saw an advert for that.
Honestly, Harold, you'd be better off selling the tyres and wheels separately
I
to
was
the
about
car.
to say that should be what sets the price. How much is the new
But
set of
because your Uber turbos and wheels will be worth more than the car.
I saw a thing today on the side of the road that said cash for scrap cars in any condition. So there you go.
Yeah, but even they have standards.
We say any condition.
And
it's only hit one
it's
cow.
only hit a small cow, so it's okay. You know, it's
Actually, for somebody, that's going to be a very, very good buy. Seriously, because they reckon that battery degradation is more on the years than it is on the actual kilometers covered, etc. So, although it sounds like not a good buy, if you can get it for the right price, then I think that's probably a very good buy.
And it will be it will be at the right price, because I'm very pragmatic with selling cars. You just
get rid of the bloody thing.
You just get rid of it. You just sell it for whatever it's going to get sold for, and you just don't mess around. But very good point, Mark, about the degradation. So my battery is degraded 14%. So it started at 74 kilowatt hours usable. That's absolute usable. Down to the top of your buffer. So that's what you can use. So from 0 to 100%. It now is 65.8. So it's going to make my 450 kilometre leg from 3 ways to Camberwell just that little bit more challenging. But what's going to be really interesting is my wife's car, which they're identical except hers is blue. Exact same age, but vastly different mileage. So her car has done, so this is to your point of it's more time than distance.
Yeah.
Her car has done 22,000. Oh man, 22,000 Ks, slightly more than one lap worth in 2 years. So it'll be super interesting. When I get back, I'll do a battery test on her car and compare the degradation, because apart from that, they're identical, which would be super interesting to do.
Yeah, that's really interesting. My Model S, when I sold it, I did a test. It was at 7% deg at 128,000.
That's brilliant.
That's really
excellent.
good.
So
I mean, all these people said they die. They just die.
No.
I mean, even that's after 8 years.
Yeah. I was expecting on the day it came out of its 8-year warranty for it to immediately cease working, because that's what the newspapers will tell you. You know, there's an 8-year warranty. That means at 8 years you'll have to replace the battery. I sold it to the guy. It still has a solid 350 kilometer range, which is not significantly less than when I bought it, really.
Yeah.
And it still drove like a new one, honestly.
And significantly more than any car you can buy currently in Australia.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. How many Ks are on your car, Harold? 120-ish?
On my wife's, 22,000.
No, on your one.
107, nearly 175.
Yeah, okay.
175. So, but don't forget, I wouldn't call it abuse. I've used every single bit of battery that I've paid for. So on a lap, I will and I've got the receipts. I've got so many photos, and most of the time I just sort of forgot to take a photo where I turn up at 1, 2, 3%, 2, 4%, 0%. Don't like to do that too often. But I use the whole battery because it's just it's just what you have to do in the bush, and that's not ideal. And obviously, I have to also charge the car up to 100% often on occasion. So it's not the most ideal use, but it's going to be super interesting to see what my wife's degradation is. And if it's say half of that, if it's say 8% or something, then that'd be quite pleasing. That my car.
I reckon it'll be less than that.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. I'll have to. I don't really have time to do the test because you got to run the car down to 0 and all that sort of stuff. But no, I'll do it. I'll do it when I get back, because it'll be a perfect. In fact, their VIN is only. I think hers is only a few dozen numbers away from mine. They were basically built on the same day, so that'll be a perfect demonstration of distance over time. So we'll find out.
And they're both performances?
Yes. Oh yeah. They are absolutely identical. They're both Model Y performance, white interiors actually, except hers is vastly cleaner than mine. And that's another thing I've got to test, is how to clean the seat, which hasn't been cleaned in 174,000 Ks.
Seriously.
So I was going to do a test at 100,000 Ks, and I kind of missed that. then I
What
thought,
was the description of the white colour that your seats were?
where or are?
You
I,
could,
I
you could,
describe
you could,
this, I describe them now as tan seats. I'm not a smoker, but I guess if I was,
you could clone many Harolds from that seat.
yes. So I was going to do 100,000 Ks, and then I was going to do 100,000 miles, and now I'm just going to do whatever it gets to when I sell it, which will probably be 200,000 Ks. And then I'll Google beforehand what are the two techniques. I'll do a couple of patches, one with distilled water with a microfiber cloth, one with Windex, and one with probably that leather cleaner. I've heard that's pretty good too.
You just need to kill it with fire.
Yeah, there you go. And we all know that red cars go faster, Harold, but blue cars get longer range. So,
dearie me. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing the Glacier Blue tomorrow at O'Connor, because that will either affirm my purchase or yeah, no, it'll be all right. It'll be good.
Blue
It's
is the correct color.
a different hue of blue, but that's cool. It's all good.
very similar to what's behind your head on the screen, which is the Earth. Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be precise, that is WA. I don't know if I think I've said this long ago. So there's Exmouth just there, Perth's around about there, and that is the western part of WA.
We can't see pointing, Harold.
Yeah, we can't see pointing, but I can see it just behind.
Sorry, you can't see. Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I'll point. Oh, that's backwards. That is very difficult to do.
Yeah, there's Exmouth.
That's Exmouth just there, and then Perth is. That's really messing with my brain. That Perth is there.
There. Well done.
So, and that was deliberate. It's not the most ideal photo frame, but that's what I captured off the YouTube video from SpaceX on the obviously SpaceX's famous first Falcon Heavy launch with the Roadster.
Yeah.
So there you go. There is method to that madness that I exhibited all those years ago.
You're just demonstrating what a geek you really are.
It's all about the details. Sorry, go again, Colin.
I was just going to say, have you asked Tesla if they're interested in buying your car off you?
Yeah.
You mean like I'm not happy with it, and yeah, no.
Oh, they might be interested to see. I'm sure there's not too many models that have done that many Ks that quickly. They might learn some things off it.
Actually, yeah, no. I'm sure there are Uber drivers that probably do those sort of Ks, really, because I mean, I do a lot of drive, like in the next 9 days. A couple of weeks, I'll be doing a lot of driving, but I don't drive that much, normally. So there's a gentleman who owns a model. It's like Ken's car. I think it is identical to Ken's. It's Ken's old S. It's a 75D. I'm pretty sure it is. And he's got well in excess of 700,000 Ks on it. And that's a freakily reliable car. And Tesla are actually quite impressed. And they've had to do certain things to that car that they've never known how to do because they've never done it before. Like I think they changed one drive unit or something, and they were surprised how long it lasted because if you were in the old nose cone cars, those drive units would drop like flies. There'd be a regular they'd rebuild them and they'd have to replace them every 100,000 Ks or so afterwards. And I think his were basically going strong deep into 750,000 Ks. Oh, sorry, 2/3 Ks.
Yeah, but yours is different because yours has actually been around Australia how many times?
Lost count, see?
It's been around 6, and it will be on its last 7th and final lap.
That is really different because that's showing a whole set of different road standards and laps in different temperatures.
And it's towed a caravan twice.
That actually might be interesting for them.
Yeah, or anyone else that wants to
worth suggesting it.
Get a historic car. We could, take it to the York Motor Museum and just dump it there. I'll take anything around about 40 grand for it, 50 grand for it, you know. Anyway, it's a car, so
Harold,
they're there to be used.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the batteries in our 3NYs, both the LFP and the NCA, are designed for roughly about 2,000 cycles. So let's say it's a LFP battery in a Model 3, so let's go for the smallest one. So that's 50 kilowatt hours. So that gives you, what, 100,000. Divide that by 0.15 in terms of 150 watt hours per kilometre on average, and that gets you about 666,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
I thought the rating was around about 15,000 cycles, so 1,500 cycles for an NMC and 4,000 for the LFP.
Right. I mean, 4,000. That would take you.
It's about $1 million.
Yeah, 4,000
Yes.
cycles take to about 1.2 million kilometres.
So a little while ago on my previous lap, the total was, no, sorry, that's not it. I want the better photo. Yeah, I should be able to tell you how many kilowatt hours my battery's actually used. And then you can get an estimate of how many cycles it's done. But the thing is, it's not really the life, because the degradation actually rolls off. It's inverted commas steeper at the start, and then it sort of glides to almost flat lines. And they don't really fail. I mean, some can, but they'll just gradually get slightly less and less range eventually, or less capacity. But it doesn't mean you can't use them in stationary storage, or, I mean, bloody hell, if you compare it to a Nissan Leaf that when it was born had a theoretical range of 120 Ks, in the limit, as long as everything else was working, you could just drive the car for 1 million Ks, and if it had 200 Ks range, well, so what? You know, it's your daily driver. Doesn't matter. So it's not like they sort of get to a certain magical cycle like an ink cartridge, and then just software says stop. It just keeps on going, really, in that sense. But yeah, so at least no one can accuse me of flipping cars flippantly, like, you know, every 50,000 Ks or something. Except for that in-betweeny Model Y that I got so that Pete and I could do that initial Model Y lap around Australia. I think I had that for 30,000 Ks. The Model X I had for 220, and this Model Y for 200. And the Juniper will be probably 100 before I get a Cybertruck, hopefully.
Unless they bring one out.
Bring what out? A Cybertruck? Oh, then I'll convince my wife that she wants a refreshed Model Y instead of the old classic Y, and yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Enough about me. What do you think about me? Anyone else got any questions or comments?
I was just going to say, I've just shared in the chat if anyone's interested, if they haven't heard of it. The highest mileage Tesla in the world is a 1.2 million mile Model S in Europe.
This gentleman,
fourth
is that
battery
the English
pack,
one?
13th electric motor.
It's the German one.
Yeah.
German,
Yep. And the thing is, he loves driving, and he's got free unlimited lifetime supercharging. And I forget how much he averages, but it's very doable on an Autobahn because there's no speed limit and you've got fast DC charging. So you could easily bash out 1,000 Ks a day in half a dozen hours if you'd like that kind of hobby, because you can just do 200 Ks an hour for 5 hours with charging in between.
Hasn't he had like multiple battery packs and motors though? Like, who's got the record for highest?
So yeah, the
Original-
article says it's on its fourth battery pack and it's
Yeah, there you go.
13th electric motor.
So who's got the record for the highest mileage, highest kilometerage, whatever the term is, car with no on the original motors and original pack?
Well, there's a guy over east with a Model S that his his battery failed at 666,666 kilometres.
Yeah.
And when that comes.
Well, there
That's
was a guy. There was a guy in England, and who's the guy who does a lot of the tests? He's RS. Anyway,
Yeah.
he had a 700,000 mile Tesla that a guy owned. I think it was 700,000, and it was still on original everything.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive.
So the guy in Germany, this car here is actually a P85. So that's the older sort of nose cone car. So that's different to the one that the guy, his Twitter handle is Unique Images, I think it is. He's a chauffeur driver on the near Byron Bay, Sunshine Coast or whatever you call it, northern New South Wales coast or whatever. And he does a lot of things from taking people from Byron Bay, north and south, up to Brisbane, down to Sydney. Does a lot. He's got several cars, and him and his partner basically do it full time. And obviously can do lots and lots of Ks, but because he's got the let's call it the AP2, the Autopilot 2 refreshed Model S. Apparently those batteries and the drivetrain are in that magic sort of zone, and it's like this unknown zone of this. The stuff just keeps working, and no one can say that 660 odd thousand Ks for a battery pack is a short life. I mean, there's no one in this room that's going to own a car that's done that many Ks and keep it. You just flip to another one. So, I mean, who's got any German internal combustion engine vehicle that gets more than 300,000 Ks without spending dozens of thousands of dollars on it to keep it going?
Yeah.
So,
But even that Model S in Germany, that's not, I don't think it's quite correct to say it's had 4 batteries, because I think they're including a battery that was lent to him. So when his first battery failed, he was lent a battery, which he had in there for like 6 months before they, under warranty, gave him a new one. So, so they're counting that second battery that he just had on loan for about 6 months as having a battery, but that battery did not fail or anything. He just had it on loan from the beginning until they could determine what happened with his first one.
So he's now at 1.7 million Ks. That's on his Twitter post as of April. So earlier this month. Or 2.3 million Ks. 2.35, sorry. So he's just powering ahead. And like I said, I'd love to be able to do that. You just, every morning you have breakfast, jump on the Autobahn, fang it for a few hours, go to the supercharger, fang it for another few hours, go home, and then you've just got 1,000 Ks under your belt. You do that, in a year you got 360,000 Ks.
And 6 sets of tyres.
Have you done the Autobahn, Harold?
Yes. And I did it in an S. I did it in a classic S with the nose cone, and it had a sunroof. And I can tell you that when you go on the Autobahn, the sunroof automatically closes at 140, something like that, because it decides that it's too windy. And Autopilot stops at...
It's like 90 miles an hour, isn't it? But
160 or 100, something like that.
130.
150.
Or 150, or it varied. And then you're manually driving, and it would actually go into thermally limited after a while. Once you do it, I got it to 252 or something, which is just frightening.
The speed display goes red, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, that's right. Exactly, it does. I can't remember if it might go orange and then red, or if it just goes from normal just straight to red.
It just follows the colour of your face, Harold.
And it doesn't go, and it doesn't slow down. You got your foot to the boards, and it'll just sit there at 252 or something like that. With the speed in red, and then after a short while, it'll start slowing. The power reduces because you get power limits. So you get like little dotted lines on the power because the the coolant system's overheating, and it backs off the power. So you'll drift down to like a sedate 220, and you can kind of cruise at about 200 to 220, which sounds really weird to say, on the Autobahn. And that's what most people drive at about 220. They don't really get many people doing the ludicrous speed. And I mean, Richard, you've probably done it. At first, it's super weird and scary, and it's like, but you get used to it. And then every now and then you'll see a truck passing a truck, and it's like, oh man, the truck's doing, I think the speed limit's 100, and there's a truck doing 101. There's a truck doing 100 passing another truck doing 98. So it's passing at 2 k's an hour.
It was very satisfying though, going up behind Porsches, Mercs, BMWs, flashing the lights, getting them out of the way.
Yeah.
and
you can just gun it. You just, yeah.
That's the lovely thing about European drivers. You'll just be driving down the outside lane. You'll see 2 lights flash on, and you just pull over, and they just go past. And that's how people drive. They don't just hog the outside lane. It's just a total different way of driving. It sounds dangerous, but it's really safe. It feels good.
Except what's freaky is at several intersections, you see a little helipad with a quick response helicopter.
Yeah.
And that's to like scoop people up after they have a big pile up on the Autobahn. It's like, oh.
I think the expression is scrape, not scoop.
nearly missed our own Bucks party in Hamburg because we were stuck on the Autobahn for a few hours while they were doing exactly that.
It's another world, and you can see why the Germans are big on renewable energy, because they have so many offsets. They don't need to restrict the speed limits on the Autobahns. Whereas if you go to neighbouring countries, and one in particular I'm very much aware of is Austria, and there'll be on the Autobahn, they'll have I think it's called IG-L, and that's an abbreviation meaning that they have to reduce the overall speed limit of that major road so as to reduce carbon emissions. Because obviously on an ICE car, when you hammer it, you're less efficient. So to reduce carbon emissions, they periodically have to reduce the speed limit on several of their Autobahns. Interestingly enough, though, EVs are exempted, but it's really hard to weave around when everyone else is having to do, I think they get restricted to 120 k's an hour or something instead of the 160 or whatever they can do. So, yeah, it's pretty weird.
I have a question. So
Yes.
I bought this old clapped out Model X from someone.
One owner, apparently. Just one owner.
One careful owner.
Only been around Australia once.
Went to church on Sunday, but church was in Cairns.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was actually for one, I guess, because it's just very mildly interesting. We were camping recently to the new Jayco popped up, camping, and at night the Model X was making this noise. I was like, what is that noise it's periodically doing? And what I realised it was doing was topping up one of the air suspension struts that was evidently leaking some air out somewhere. Now, my question is that I know that these are very expensive to get replaced at Tesla, and they very much like to just replace. Is there any other place that anyone that yourself can or anyone can recommend that like not a Tesla, place in Perth, but another specialist that, because if it is something simple, because it sounded like it was like topping up and then a pressure relief valve would release. So I don't know. Who knows what it?
Yeah, I mean, look. Hopefully,
Range Rovers should have something.
Oh yeah.
Because I know a few of those have blown bags and that. But the S-Class Merc has them as well, I think, don't they?
Wouldn't be surprised. So, do you know of like an independent repairer that would do? Yeah, Mercs.
Not really. You could try and I'd be Googling stuff like wreckers. Now, not in Perth. I mean, there is a wrecker in Perth. I forget their name, but Rob Dean will know. So you got Rob Dean's details. Well, you got Rob's number, Richard.
Yeah, no, we're friends. Yeah.
Yeah. You got Rob. Yeah. So ask Rob, because there's a guy that does EV conversions next to the guy that wrecks Teslas.
Oh yeah.
And
in Perth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because
right.
there's and apparently what he also does is he buys cars from over east and brings them over, and then dismantles them and does things like pulls a battery pack out, flogs that to someone wanting to. Well, actually, the guy next door will take battery packs and drive units and control units and actually convert other non-EVs into an EV and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
So there's a chance if there's a wrecked X, you can just get the whole strut and replace it, because the cost will be in the hardware, not necessarily as much cost in the labour.
Yeah.
But it could be something as simple as, I know they have plastic air hoses. They're like brake lines, but plastic. They're rigid, and they're coloured. And look, maybe there's a tiny pinhole leak, or I don't know. But yeah, I hand on heart, I know when I owned it, it never did that ever. I never noticed that ever.
Yeah.
So,
Richard, what you can do, I know someone scuba dives here. You can put it down in the river about 4 feet under the water and see where the bubbles are coming out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I do all my tyres down there.
Until as if the windows and door opened.
Yes.
The thing is, but Elon Musk says it can get across the river, so let's do it.
I think that was the
wrong muzzle.
Do you know what though, Rich? Like you say that, but actually, like spraying some like water or something on it somewhere, may reveal it. I don't know. I'm gonna get tested first, and then if they can find something simple, then great. If not, other stuff.
Yeah. So Richard, it'd be soapy water you'd use rather than plain water. You get the bubble stain.
Yeah.
Good shout. Yeah.
Richard, you can try Grange Automotive in Osborne Park.
Is that what you just texted me?
Barry, the owner.
Oh yeah.
He owns a Model S.
Oh yeah.
And do Ferraris, Lambos, Porsches, and they do mods and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So they may to help. Alternatively, you can also, so the guy that Harold was talking about, that's Leon Ford. Try him. Alternatively, try Renew as well, because the owner there, he's got a Street Performance that is stripped right down and repainted, redid the upholstery. He basically spent like 150 grand modding his car.
Okay.
So there's three for you. And I know there was someone that I don't know if they ended up doing it, but there was a few people that were looking at putting air suspension on their Model Y, and like actually bringing kits in from the US. They've actually come down in price substantially. I remember I looked at it originally and they were like 12, 14 grand. And now they're closer to about 4 or 5 grand plus postage. So, maybe put it on our Facebook page and see if anyone ended up actually doing that or not.
So were they fitting Model X air suspension to a Model Y?
No, they were just specific air suspension kits for a Model Y.
Right.
I think I'm not sure if they were from Unplugged Performance or wherever, but I know a few of those do stuff.
The other thing, Richard, you could do is not go camping or wear earplugs.
Yeah, I'll just give them to everyone else at the campsite.
That's right.
If you can also Google, you can just do some Googling. I've just been doing a little bit now, and it seems that they are around.
Okay.
So it's got like premium air strut replacement for Tesla X 2016 to 23 on Amazon.
Okay.
In fact, here it is, $771.
Whoa.
And
Oh,
but yeah, you'd have to do some research and whatever. So I mean, it's from Amazon, so you could probably get your money back if it doesn't work or something. And there's a manufacturer reference and all that sort of stuff. So, and if you're on Amazon Prime, you can get it by Tuesday the 13th of May,
Jesus.
or by Thursday the 8th of May.
but you just want to make sure it's not a hose that's a $3 item.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, it's possible it could be something like that, or it could be a leak in the compressor, or I'm not exactly sure how any of that works, because I think it definitely has a differential between the front and the back, so that if you tow something, it'll jacket the back up. Like if you put heavy stuff in the back, it'll jack itself level. So between front and back, there's a difference. I don't know if there's a difference between left and right. So,
if I leave it overnight with it plugged in or any of the doors open, it won't continue to self level, or it won't continue to maintain the pressure. And then I'll go in the garage in the morning and it'll have like sunk down on that strut. But obviously, if I've got it not plugged in and all the doors closed, not plugged in, all the doors closed, then it will continue to try and keep itself at that.
So it's only one. So only one side sags.
Yeah, and only one strut. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Look, what you could try and do is you could contact or visit Tesla and say, hey, how much would it cost to diagnose it?
Yep.
Say, and they may give you a price, and they say we can diagnose it for X dollars. So then once you've got that answer, then you can be more better attacking it by saying, well, how much is a strut? I mean, maybe you'd be, maybe you'd be pleasantly surprised. Maybe it's not $5,000. Maybe it's a lot less.
771.
Well, yeah.
Well, when we went camping up in the Pilbara and the Kimberley in ES, and ended up doing like 100 k's of like unintended corrugated gravel road. The front struts like still got a bit of a squeak, and I got Tesla. Actually, one of the guys came out in it, and like, it was just like, come on, let's go for a little drive. And anyway, they diagnosed it and they invited me to spend, I think it was like $3,000 a strut. And I was like, does it have to be done? They're like, it's not a safety concern. I'm like, well, I'm happy to live with that. Every once in a while I go for a speed bump and it creaks a bit, but apparently
it's a shipload of WD-40, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yes. I'm just going to say that, Dr. Cooper. I was literally going to say that. Just dump a can of WD-40 all over it. It lubes up all the bull dust and turns into a nice paste.
Hey.
Like a nice rubbing compound.
Yeah.
Dear
All right, cheers to the advice, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, no worries. Alrighty, we're towards the end of the program. So, but I guess since we're going to have a hiatus for a few weeks, at least as a recorded hiatus, if we've got any last questions or comments before I throw it to Pete.
When's the performance Juniper coming?
Yep.
I might be convinced.
Ooh, very good. I don't know. There's a correct answer. And look, Tesla's really good at keeping their cards really close to their chest. I dare say it'll be an international release. There have been some cars spotted in the States, I think, that with the boot lip, or at least if they had it covered, it looked like there was a lip. So obviously performance. And I think there were some camouflage cars with red brake calipers, Model Ys. So they're obviously coming. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing that they weren't ready yet. But yeah, that'll be juicy, Paul, if you can be convinced.
Probably a few months, I would say. Your best guide is the Model 3 performance. So that came out, like 4 or 6 months after the ones came out, the refresh, the Highland. So, yeah. So maybe 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
Best guesstimate.
By which time robo-taxis would have been driving around Austin
Yep.
by the dozen and probably even by the hundred by the time the Juniper Performance comes out. So that'll be good for the share price, not financial advice. So then you might feel a bit happier to buy a Performance Juniper ball. So you never know. Very good. All right. Any last ones? Last questions before we go?
I was going to raise a question about battery charging. If we've got another 5 minutes.
Yes, Matthew. Yeah, absolutely.
You were mentioning before, Harold, about getting out of 3 and 2 and 1%. We managed to get to 3% when we rocked into Cooper Pedy, and that was a bit tight.
Yes. Which way were you coming from? North or you're coming from south? Yes. Yep. So you're going uphill, actually. I think you're going uphill.
That's right. Yeah, we're definitely going uphill. I could see it and feel it, and we didn't quite put enough in at Glendambo, so it was a bit tight. Anyway, I was just wondering about. You were mentioning, is it not good to let it get down to that kind of space? Is it better to stay at 10 or 20, or what's the preference for the car?
Look, don't worry if you're on a road trip if you get it down really low, because by definition, you're going to literally, when you get to the other end, you're going to plug it in and start recharging it. Don't leave it at super low for too long. So, and one of the reasons for that is you can get a bit of extra vampire drain, and then you can start biting into the buffer. And the buffer is there so the battery doesn't brick itself. And when it bricks itself, it actually causes some of the cells to fail, and that'll effectively kill the pack. But that's in the extreme of you've gone below zero and you've gone, because most cars will have about a 3.1 kilowatt hour buffer below zero, at zero. Okay. So, no, please don't feel that it's bad to arrive somewhere at 5, 3, 2, 1%. I mean, look, even zero for that matter, it's just less comfortable. But do make sure you plug in straight away. And even if it's a 10 amp outlet, it doesn't really matter that much.
I took your suggestion to go to the Desert Cave Motel because they had
cool.
Destination charger, and it was all done by the morning, so it was wonderful.
Perfect. Did you happen to go past the Kempower to have a look at it at the Civic Centre? Or you might not have bothered because you had a full...
Yeah, no, I didn't even think to do that. Sorry.
That's fine.
About it.
Yep. No, that's cool.
I did try and use PlugShare, so I tried to make sure all the way across I made some comments there.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, it's really important. I must admit, I get a little bit frustrated because a lot of people will make trips. We know they've made a trip and there'll be zero information on PlugShare. And it's not that, I mean, PlugShare is purely optional, but when you're in the bush, it's very heartening to know that someone used a charger a couple of days ago and it worked, because that can be very heartening, because there's nothing more disheartening than turning up to a charger that you really need to find it's not working and probably hasn't been working for weeks and no one knows about it, except for the people that have visited. But no, so absolutely don't worry about turning up at 1-2%. I mean, when I say in my car, I've done that, unfortunately, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times, to the point where I played a game where I think I can count from 0 to like 30% continuously. I've got a photo for at least every percentage between 0 and 30 inclusive, and lots of zeros, well, several zeros and lots of ones, lots of twos, a ton of fives. But you just got to do it in the bush, because you can't just sit and wait for your car to be at 100% to make big gaps or whatever. Yeah. By the way, the Glendambo, that was a charger installed by Hunter Murray, because the original charger at the Caltex / Ampol was made unavailable by the company that bought that roadhouse or that petrol station and closed it. because I believe they also own the other petrol station in town.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that they've got the whole system pegged out quite nicely for themselves.
Yes. So, but it was great that Hunter Murray actually installed I think it's a CTEC charger.
It gets up to 13 kilowatts, so it's not huge, but it does the job.
Yes, and it's better than the alternative, which was 15 amps at the Glendambo caravan park.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Which, but yeah, no, don't feel bad at all for discharging. You've paid for that battery, and you are absolutely entitled to use all of it from the very top to the very bottom. But yeah, as long as you just proceed to start recharging it as soon as possible, it's perfectly fine, and just don't do it every day. And then it'll be fine.
Yeah, I thank you for that.
No worries. Alrighty. Any last ones before we throw to Pete?
Yeah, don't look at the share prices. See you.
Oh,
Yeah, I did.
I did see it was 6%. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
It'll be up in the morning.
I'm not selling any shares for a couple of years, so a lot can happen in that time. So it'll be all right. Don't you worry about that.
Maybe
Not
I'll just
financial
buy some more.
advice. Yeah, exactly. All right. Any last ones, and then we'll go with Pete. I think we're all good. All right, Pete. How would you see out a show like this? Take out a show like this as if we didn't already know.
As always, stay safe, stay
Sorry.
and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful, couple of weeks, everybody. Look forward to seeing a lot of you tomorrow at the O'Connor showroom for the Juniper Model Y, and next Wednesday evening at the Greenwood Tavern, and obviously online the week after and the week after that, and back on record on the Wednesday the 20th of May for Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Harold, and
Bye,
safe
all.
travels.
Oh, thank you. Good night.